Coach Michelle here. The next exercise that we worked on was the hinge. So find yourself a counter again or a chair. I'm gonna use my spa top here. And in our hinge again, we are going keeping our feet straight ahead. So again, find your foundation, ball of your foot, big toes are down, blade of your foot, light on your heels. We don't want to be heavy on our heels and find ourselves falling. Continue to breathe. First things first in a hinge, place your hands in front of you. Make sure that your feet are underneath your hips. Don't be too far forward because you will not be able to get the full lengthening of your hamstrings is what we're working on in the hinge. So we're going to walk our feet back until we're at a comfortable position where our feet feel strong. Our hands are not overextended, but they're strong. Shoulders back and down. Chin tucked toward your chest. Find your footing. Remember, we're pressing our feet into the ground and we're ripping apart. Just like in the rocker on the ground, we're ripping apart. So if I was to have as you see, when I'm in lazy kind of position and I actively rip apart the ground, bringing all the energy inside to outside, inside to outside. All my pressures on the balls of my feet, blade of my foot, pressures to the outside. Holding it here, keeping that in the same position. Okay, hold that. Just continue to hold it once you have it. Just want to make sure I'm clear. Hold it. And now we're going to slowly pull our glutes and our hips behind us. Your feet may be in front of you just a little bit, but your ankle bone and your hip bone are aligning. Once you get to about here, you may start to feel movement in the hip joint. This is where we internally rotate our hip to get a little bit deeper. And we come up. Now we maintain that internalization of our hip and we hinge here. Continuing, because now we're working the hips, the low back, mid back, hamstring strength. I'm still on the blade of my feet. I'm light on my heels. All my pressure, my ankles are rotating. I'm allowing my feet to move. My balls of my feet are moving. If you really pay attention to your feet, you don't have to have them plastered into the ground for this move. We can even come up off our heels and pull back, keeping our second toe straight. Big toes can kind of point towards one another if they need you to find space. Your heels should be away from you to the right and to the left. And we're pulling our hips back and tailbone up to the sky. Gaining length in the hamstrings, strength here. The lower you get, the less you'll have in your low back. If I need to, I will come down to the blade of my foot and I'm still pushing, ripping apart the ground with my feet. So my feet, if you watch, I want you to see my feet are gripping the ground, not my toes necessarily, but the ball. Look at my toes are up, but the balls of my feet and the blade of my feet and the blade of my foot is gripping the ground underneath me. I put my big toe down. My other toes can be actually lifted up off the ground and I am being balanced by the glutes. When I do the hinge work, my knees turn straight. They may start out, but because of the internal rotation of the hips at the top here, they will pop straight. And I will feel a literal, almost like a natural release of pressure at the top right when I go down into the hinge. Again, this is working your glutes, your low back. The whole power of the hinge is keeping that pressure of that ripping action. Right now, just standing here, you should feel activation, but loose activation in your quads. These are off, but my hamstrings are on big time. They're not moving. Okay, and I'm pushing space behind me. When you feel good, you can take your hands off of this thing in front of you. Put your hands on your hips. You should feel hip movement. Ooh. Yes, just keep going. And you would want to do these hinges from anywhere 30 seconds to 2 minutes again. a couple rounds of those. So good job. Try it out. Let me know if you have questions.